Men. What do you think about when you hear that word? A group of dudes trying to hit on women in bars, guys in suits and expensive watches smoking cigars? Maybe you think about alpha males who are trying to sell you their $1,000 course. Or maybe, just maybe, a father who comes home after a long day of work, has dinner with his family, and tucks his kids into bed at night. Regardless of what you thought about when I said the word men, I bet you didn't think about this. A bunch of guys alone in their basements, their parents providing for their every need, with no ambition, childlike instincts, and no purpose. See, because we don't refer to these people as men in the traditional sense. We think of them as juvenile, maybe even infantile, as they have no sense of purpose or responsibility in their lives. But how does a young man become this way to begin with? What has to happen in his childhood for him to turn out like this? And more importantly, what are the hidden incentives behind keeping men underdeveloped and infantile? Everyone knows that the rise of social media has been a curse like no other to the younger generation. The generation that grew up with social media reports significantly higher rates of depression. This curse has taken an even more sinister effect on the male population of the society by stunting the development of men and keeping them infantile. This is because social media isolates like no other, like we already know. Before, the ways that young kids eventually grew up to be good young men was through communities. You had so many more boys joining communities through sports, extracurriculars, and plainly just hanging out with friends. Now there's much less of that. Most young boys are isolated under the guise of being more connected than ever, and they have no community to grow up with. In 2023, 25% of 8th and 10th grade boys said that they often feel lonely. Of course, social media has its benefits. I mean, how else would you be watching this video? But in the case of young boys and girls, there isn't any proper guardrail system that can prevent harm. And in today's case of young boys' development, it's preventing them from doing something useful with their time, as they spend hours just scrolling reels and completely rotting their brains away to slop. Not even good quality content. Quick little side rant, I promise it connects back. A lot of young kids these days are watching streamers play games or do other dumb things. When I was a kid, I used to watch actual cartoons like Beyblades or Teen Titans. Shows that, to some extent depicted these elements of adversity, some courage, friendship, some level of character building that I could learn from as a kid. What in the are these kids even watching? If they're not going to hang out with their friends and be on their phones all day, at least watch something that can teach you these fundamental concepts of life. Sound like a boomer. Many young boys also lack the character building phases that young boys of the past had to go through, like sports, winning and losing, working hard to become better. When looking at the drop-off in boys playing sports, we see a clear decline across different time spans from multiple different surveys. Nothing builds character for young boys like sports and competition. Learning how to win with grace, accept defeat, reflect on what went wrong, improve. All of these are core skills in life that allow a young boy to become a high-achieving young man. Before, kids used to compete. They used to have so many different outlets to compete. However, today, all they do is sit in their own loneliness and play video games, or worse, brain rot. And when these kids grow up, they also delay getting jobs because they have no sense of responsibility or the feeling that they are growing up. There is no character building, so they wouldn't want to do anything that requires any work in order for them to earn some money and start their financial lives. Today, in the US, only 30% of 16 to 19-year-olds work, compared with 50% in 2000. And this phenomenon is with both young men and women. When you have a society of young men that are incapable of taking responsibility for anything, have no sense of maturity or desire to become successful, what hope does society have of making sure that their rights aren't stripped from them? So the hidden incentives behind young men's behavior becoming more and more infant-like is pretty clear. A male population that can't think maturely, handle adversity, or call out injustice is one that is highly receptive to propaganda, is highly controllable, and is in no way a threat to the elite class. In one of my last videos, I talked about how society is being domesticated. In addition to that, it's also now being pushed to be more and more infant-like, especially the male population in the West. And on top of this, young boys of today lack role models. Most fathers today don't really lead the household. They are more so kind of at the whim of their wives. I know the things that I'm going to say will really upset the feminist narrative, but here's something interesting that I want you to ponder. A strong, healthy relationship with a father is crucial to a well-developed kid. Of course, a strong feminine mother figure is also very important to nurture the kid and teach them feminine traits that benefit both men and women. By the way, if you think men having feminine traits is weak, I sincerely urge you to reconsider that opinion. Anyways, yeah, a mother and father is important for a child's development, but I'd go a little further to argue that a strong father figure is more important to a child than a mother figure is, although both are important. Consider this. If a woman turns out to be very promiscuous and seeks tons of male attention, who's blamed? The father. The lack of fatherly love, daddy issues. On the other hand, I want you to think of households that are single-father households, where you hear stories of the kids turning to violence and joining gangs. A present father figure they can look up to, not some distant deadbeat dad. Sounds pretty difficult to think about that last time, right? The thing is, young boys strongly crave and need someone to look up to. The only households where a single mother is able to be looked up to is with a super successful mother making a ton of money who is respected in society. And the kid sees this with his eyes and looks up to her. But the problem is, single mothers struggle heavily and are looked down upon by society, so the young boy does not see this as someone to look up to. So he looks elsewhere. In crime-ridden communities, he turns to gangs and violence because he sees that gang leaders are respected. Otherwise, he turns to social media, where his feed is full of alpha males telling him he needs to make $1 million a year and needs to have 10 virgin girls that he sleeps with all the time. Both of these phenomena lead to the same thing, an underdeveloped, highly emotional, infantile, incapable man who can't be responsible for anything or anyone, much less capable of enacting any sort of positive change. Perfect for the elite class. If you're a young man and you're getting the feeling that this is you, take control of your life. Set goals, learn to achieve them. If you fall short, learn to adapt and keep going by improving. Do something, do anything positive. Just the only thing you shouldn't be doing is harming others and wasting your own life. Don't just be doing nothing and wasting your life away. If you found any value from this, I'd highly appreciate a like and a subscribe. And until the next hidden incentive is uncovered, you may want to stick around for the following. Although I'm not a huge fan of mainstream religion, it's evident that more and more people are in dire need of it today. The following may be of help to you.